Hello and welcome, Rosie Stephenson-Goodknight. It is such an honor to have you with us. First of all, I'd love to introduce Rosie. Rosie Stephenson-Goodknight is a veteran Wikipedia editor since 2007 and administrator since 2009. She has created more than 5,000 new articles on Wikipedia, including more than 1,400 biographies about notable women. Rosie serves as a visiting scholar at Northeastern University, Boston, vice president of Wikimedia District of Columbia, member of the board of advisors for Coalition for Women in Journalism, and she is the chair of the Wikimedia Foundation's Affiliations Committee. In 2015, Rosie and Roger Bamkin co-founded Wiki Women in Red, an international multi-language initiative focused on increasing the quantity and quality of articles related to women, which includes biographies, women's works, women's issues on Wikipedia. In 2016, Women in Red was shortlisted for the ITU UN Women GemTech Award in honor of its work in applying technology for women's empowerment and digital inclusion. In the same year, Rosie was named Wikipedian of the Year for her efforts to combat harassment on Wikipedia and increase its coverage of notable women. In 2018, she was knighted by Serbia in part because of her Wikipedia work. Rosie has a bachelor's degree in business management, a master's degree from California State University, San Marcos, and a graduate certificate in executive leadership from University of California, San Diego. She lives in Northern California. Welcome, Rosie. It is an extreme pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Sabin, for having me on. And I'm delighted to be able to share some of the insights that I have regarding why people should become involved in Wikipedia. I have a slide deck, so let me go ahead and start that now.
Please.
Today, I want to talk about Wikipedia, gender equity, and free knowledge. And I want to thank all of you who are here to listen, who are joining me for the Girls Summit. I want to congratulate you for being bold and wanting to learn how you can make a difference. Angela Davis, an American political activist, philosopher, professor, and author, once said, "We're doing today what we should have started 150 years ago. So I better work fast to share my message with you. And after I'm done, I hope that you are inspired to be bold and edit Wikipedia." You know, Wikipedia is the world's 5th most frequently visited website. If we had a motto, something that would say who we are, what we're trying to do, perhaps it's this. The founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales, said, "Imagine a world in which every single person on the planet is given free access to the sum of all human knowledge." That's what we're doing. Why? Well, because knowledge is power. With knowledge, you can increase agricultural productivity. You can fight hunger. You can provide clean water. You can end poverty through education. You can combat global warming and climate change. You can even fight dictatorship with truth, with freedom and democracy. With knowledge, you can make a better world. And we believe, we, the people who edit Wikipedia, we believe by providing knowledge that's freely available to everyone, we can change the world. And that's what Wikipedia is for. Did you know that there are more than 50 million Wikipedia articles, and new ones are created every minute of every day? And all of that knowledge is free and available to you and your family and your friends. Did you know that Wikipedia strives for knowledge equity? But it's hard to have that without more people like you. There are many challenges in how we can reach knowledge equity. And one of them has to do with access. And another has to do with having knowledge accessible on different tools and devices and apps. And being available for those people who don't have a network connectivity. And even available for people who can get to a library, but they don't have an electronic device. We need Wikipedia as printed books. And we need to do this in the 312 language versions of Wikipedia. We need to be more diverse and more inclusive so that knowledge is truly everyone's knowledge. Did you know that today most Wikipedia editors are boys and men? In fact, 90% of Wikipedia editors are just that, while only 9% of Wikipedia editors are girls and women, young and old. This is not equitable. And it creates bias. But there is a solution, and that's diversity. Diverse people contributing to Wikipedia. And what will it accomplish? It will improve the percentage of biographies and other articles related to women and non-binary people. You see there that 18.6% of the biographies on Wikipedia are about women, and the balance, they're about men. This is already an improvement. 6 years ago, it was 15.5%, but we can do more. We can do better. That's why we need you. We need you to work with us to fight the bias and change the world. So here it is, my call to action from me to you. Be bold. Become a Wikipedia volunteer. There's a volunteer editing community behind Wikipedia. And one of the biggest enigmas facing Wikipedia is the question of what motivates volunteers to become involved. So let me tell you my story. When I was in school, I wanted to become a cultural anthropologist. I wanted to study island people like Margaret Mead did. But my dad, he wanted me to pursue something more practical. So I studied business. And I've had a wonderful career as a businesswoman. But you know what? That dream of becoming a cultural anthropologist, it never left. When I started editing Wikipedia, I got to be that person. With Wikipedia, I get to research what interests me and write about what interests me. And now the world is reading the articles I've worked on. So girls, for all of you out there with impractical dreams, don't give up. Be bold. Become a Wikipedia volunteer. Now, don't become a wiki vandal, right? And remember that it isn't just you and me, but it's also society that's part of the challenge. If the media, if the press, if the history books and the textbooks don't write about girls and women, we can't write their biographies into Wikipedia. So we need the help of society too. There are lots of communities who are working on just that. Have you heard about She for Her during this conference? I'll bet you will. Have you heard about Women in Red? We are a community of Wikipedia editors of all genders in 25 different language Wikipedias. We support each other while improving Wikipedia's content gender gap. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was amazing, Rosie. We've learned so much, and 15% to 18%. That is amazing piece of information, and we have to keep on forging forward, moving together in solidarity. So it's really important for us. And I would now like to ask you why it is so important to showcase these women. Why is it so important for girls to learn about the and everyone to learn about these women?
If you go on an encyclopedia, be it Wikipedia or all the old ones before that, and you start thumbing through all the articles, if all you see are men scientists and men artists and men writers and so forth, you're going to think that the important people of the world are men, and that misses out on 50% of us who are also holding up the sky, the women. If it were truly a fact that women never did anything notable, then I'd say, okay, that makes sense. But it's not true. That is not a fact. That is misinformation. The fact is, there are plenty of women artists and scientists and writers and hip hop artists, and you name it, who have done important things and should be part of the knowledge base that we have, but their articles haven't been written yet. And that's why we need people who are the same, women writing about women. That's not to say that men shouldn't write about women. We encourage that too. In fact, I say, I don't care what your gender is, just write those articles. But we do need women to know that you're missing. You're missing from writing those articles. So we need you to do both. We need women writing articles on Wikipedia because women are missing, and we need people writing the biographies about women and the articles about their works, the paintings they painted, the sculptures they sculpted, the schools they founded, the books that they've written, so that when a girl goes onto Wikipedia and starts scrolling through the articles, what she sees is equitable, that she sees that men have done important things and women have done so too.
Absolutely. And what role and how do you think it impacts young girls to read those articles?
I think that it starts with society. If society doesn't realize its part in what young girls are going to read, then nothing will move forward. Society means the media, it means the press, it means Twitter and LinkedIn and Insta. It means the textbook editors who are churning out the textbooks now that girls are reading in class. It includes the history writers who are deciding what topic they're going to write on. Because when they have done their writing, that information gets into Wikipedia, and that's what the young girls are going to read. So if we don't start there, if we don't start with letting society know the importance of doing their job and focusing and showcasing the work of women, then we're going to let down everyone who's trying to make Wikipedia be an equitable place for not just girls and young women, but for everybody.
On that. And if you could tell us about a lot of girls and myself included, and a lot of people, are stuck with the copyright issues regarding images. So that's like a big thing. If you could tell us about that.
Yes, copyright is tricky. So I'll start by saying I'm not a lawyer, but I do know a thing or two about what you can upload into WikiCommons, which is one of the world's largest repositories of free use images. If you take a photo of something, you own it, not the person who's in the photo. And you can upload your photo to WikiCommons. It could be a selfie of you, or it could be a photo of something else. But if you have taken the image, you can upload it. So be bold and do that, as long as it's educational. We're saying, not everything is educational. And so I'm not suggesting you take photos every day of your cat and think that that's the appropriate thing to upload, right? What else you can upload are things that are clearly marked as being free use or CC by SA 4.0, for example. If you just find, though, an image on some website and it doesn't clearly state that it is free, that it's copyright free, then it isn't. If there's an image on the Ananke website and it doesn't say that it's free use, you can't use it, right? You can't use it. Only if it says it's free use. Most government websites have free use images, but I can't speak for all the governments in the world. So let me say that that isn't true for everywhere. It's true in the United States. So any image you see on a website by the US government, you can use that. You can upload that into WikiMedia Commons. There are more rules than that, but this is kind of the general ones. Did that help?
That really helps. Yes,
Exactly.
that really helps.
If you go to Wikimedia Commons and click the button for uploading, it will ask you several questions about where did you get this image. By answering that question correctly, it will then let you know whether you can proceed with the upload or not. I just caution you to remember, if you find that image just anywhere on the net, you probably can't use it in a Wikipedia article. You can't upload it to Wikimedia Commons. So to the extent possible, encourage other women to upload images of themselves so that you can then use that image in their Wikipedia article. You probably know this, but maybe not. Statistics show that if a page on the internet, a Wikipedia article or anything else, has a photo, it's more likely that the people's eyes will stay on that page longer. So I can't stress enough how important it is to try to get that image. And if you're writing an article about someone whom you're able to contact and ask them to upload an image of themselves, I encourage you to do so.
I agree because, when you're talking about increasing the percentage of women stories, biographies on Wikipedia, it's really, I think it's empowering to put a face to the name. It makes more sense, and everyone, it resonates with everyone. So it's really important to have an image because, again, an image. There's a saying, say, it says a thousand, it means a thousand or something. I've forgotten about it, but
One picture is worth 1,000 words.
absolutely, that's the phrase I was going for. So thank you, Rosie. It's been wonderful speaking to you. Any last words of wisdom for, because this is a girl summit, and we would like you to say a few words, to these girls who are aspiring to be change makers as well, and they're looking for different role models. And Wikipedia is definitely a platform that provides these amazing women, biographies. So if you have any last words.
My last words would be this: do what you love to do. Follow your heart, follow your passion. I didn't start editing Wikipedia because I thought, oh, this is important. I should do this. I will help the world. I started editing Wikipedia because I just wanted to do it. What came next was the fact that it's important. But the same can be true for other things. You probably have your own passions. And so work on that. Find a way to make what your passion is be important to the world. Become the change maker that you wish the world had. Become that activist. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with the first step. So decide what you like to do, what you want to do, and then find your way to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen overnight, like my passion didn't happen overnight, just remember it's a long life. And don't forget what it is that you want to do, because if you can't do it today, maybe you can tomorrow or next year or sometime after that.
Thank you so much. Those were amazing words of wisdom. Um, Thank you, Rosie, for always supporting us, and thank you for being here at the Girls Summit. I